Welcome to this morning's CIO WaterCooler TV. Today I am joined by Rick Farrow, the Group CIO for the Nuclear Decommissioning Agency. My name's David Savage, for those of you who haven't seen these episodes before. After this episode, you may want to go and find all the other content that's on the site, but we'll leave that for the moment and dive straight into today's interview with Rick. How are you, first of all?
Yeah, good, very good, thank you. You?
Yeah, good. Looking forward to Christmas?
Absolutely. It's been a long old year, isn't it? It's been a particularly long old year.
It has indeed. Yeah, recording on the 18th of December. This will probably go out in January,
Yes.
so it'll be a distant memory by then. But look, very quickly, what is your role with the NDA? I know Group CIO is possibly self-explanatory, but it's always worth asking
Yes.
first.
So I hold responsibility for strategy and supporting the overall IT framework for the NDA. So the NDA are a non-departmental government body that regulate and allocate funding to the nuclear decommissioning mission on behalf of UK government. So we're part of BASE, and we've got a number of offices across the UK in support of that mission. And the IT function in general is controls some of our bigger subsidiaries like Magnox and Sellafield, you may have heard of, and especially with IT. The different levels of maturity, different aspirations, different risk appetites. There's lots and lots of moving parts, and we have to weave it all together somehow. So it's very, very interesting, very, very challenging, and really, really interesting industry to be part of.
Being from the north of England, not only have I heard of Sellafield, I went there on a school trip. But
it's the size of a city. It's fantastic. I would, for any of the listeners, if you ever get the chance to go, it is a fantastic facility.
Absolutely. Look, just a quick one. Interesting role to have. You mentioned their heavily regulated industry and environment. In the news at the minute, lots of people talking about the Digital Services Act and big tech throwing their arms up, going, regulation's not going to be helpful to innovation. How do you innovate in an environment that is heavily regulated?
How do you innovate? Well, for starters, we're spending public money, and that's the first consideration. So our ability to justify what we do with, clear design, clear objectives, and making cost savings where we can, critically important. So what we try and do is do it once, do it well, and do it for everybody. So we're looking at a lot of commoditized service initiatives going into next year. But when you have a business the size of Sellafield, which is 14,000 plus individuals, and then we got the smaller businesses like National Nuclear Laboratories, which is a couple of hundred in a completely different discipline, both moving at different paces, different internal capabilities, and really different ways in which they operate. It can be difficult to get a one size fits all sort of commoditized service. So there's lots of buy off, lots of toing and froing in relation to the requirements overall, and really when you layer up on top of that the very tough constraints around our procurement legislation, it can be a very, very difficult place to operate. So we have to go to market for anything above 10 grand, for example. So we have to fully compete any contract that's above 10 grand. So that is not a particularly agile way to work. And the only way we can get around that is, first of all, it's relationships. So our relationships with our information governance, our cyber, and our procurement communities is exemplary. We put a lot of effort into making sure the personal relationships get us past those difficult conversations we have to have. Second, the processes by which we operate are well designed, they're transparent, and they are applicable to everybody. So we have one version of the truth. We know where everything is, and we know who has accountability for what stage. And that's been critical because it's something that we've done a lot of work on in the last 18 months, and we're going to continue into next year by digitizing some of what we do. Essentially, these businesses tend to be behind the technology curve. Especially our information governance communities would be happy if we just sat in a cellar in the dark, sitting on our hands, and because no change means no additional risk. So it is a difficult place to get things done. But again, it's there's a lot of low hanging fruit there, and there's the coming from behind almost gives us an opportunity to skip 2 generations of innovation and go straight in with the really great digital stuff that's happening in the market right now.
It's interesting there that you talk about difficult conversations. You're having to pull together lots of different strands there across the organization, and possibly resistant to change, more resistant to change perhaps than some other environments because of the very nature of what you do. you don't come from a technology background.
No, absolutely not.
Do you think that helps you in terms of influencing? Because right now, if you look across the industry as a whole, the trend during this year seems to be that CIOs feel that they do have more of an influential voice, despite the fact that actually CIO numbers at the boardroom are falling.
Mm. You're absolutely right. I think, I mean, it's just my opinion, but a CIO should be 60% business, 40% IT. The ability to translate that business strategy and the strategic intent and requirements into a number of programs of work, underpinned either by digital strategy or IT program or change program, whatever that may be. Your ability to do that and then feed that back into a board to get the appropriate amount of investment and the framework to deliver it. That's the key. That's what a CIO is there to do. I work very closely with my CIO community across my group, and we all have great relationships, and we tend to, excuse the rugby parlance, but scrum down on a lot of the key activity we need to facilitate to make sure that we can deliver the mission. The NDA in particular, what we essentially do is sign things off and review documents. That's kind of what we do very simplistically. Now, as well as I know, there is technology out there that could digitize and almost automate a good chunk of that. So there is a cultural challenge in getting people to think differently, and translating the art of the possible into a business that is 15 years behind the technology curve. For example, we only installed Wi-Fi in our offices this year. I mean, that is, that's gives you some sort of reflection on how far we really have been behind. But we're driving forward Office 365. We're going to be implementing OneDrive this year. We're doing our first digital workflow trials in the coming year. There's a massive amount of really great innovation that I'm hoping is going to change the culture and get people to think, well, actually, we can do this better. We can manage this business outside of email and spreadsheets. It really is a sort of paradigm altering change in the way people think. And I see that as my job as CIO, to push that through the group and get people to work together to deliver the overall.
Look, Rick, I want to say thank you for joining us in this busy period just before Christmas. Everyone's desperately trying to get everything finished so they can log off and enjoy the holiday period. So thanks for your time. I mentioned at the top of the interview that there are plenty of other episodes of the CIO WaterCooler TV on the website. So if you do go and have a look there, this is probably going out in January. You'll most certainly need something to get you through those long, dark nights with the lights having disappeared. So check that out. Apart from that, thanks for your time.
Thanks.